One Nigeria, one government for all. And if I may address His Excellency, the President-elect, President Tinubu, through you, Your Excellency, Vice President-elect, I speak to you as a brother, but also as an elder statesman in leadership. The contest is now over, and the hard work of building a prosperous and unified Nigeria now begins.
Speaking on the topic, religious tolerance and inclusiveness, Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka challenged the incoming administration to rise to the challenge of uniting the different ethnic groups in the country.
Nigeria must heal. Nigeria must heal. But we also must have the courage to identify the scars, the wounds, the injuries. The worst thing that can happen to us is to pretend that everything is okay, because everything is not okay. We have so many of our citizens who have lost their lives. We have so many of our citizens who are still in captivity. Managing diversity and managing differences is not about religious leaders talking together. It is about whether the state can create the kind of infrastructure, the guardrails, that can help Nigerians move as citizens of their country. But right now, there is how people feel because they are Christians or Muslims. There is how people feel because they are women. The levels and categories of exclusion are so tremendous and so immense. So I hope that going forward, the things that the guest speaker has spoken about most eloquently, that is, how do you manage victory? How do you manage victory? How do you mutate from being a politician who was contesting election to being a politician who has won election? Very often. And what is clear to us in Africa, why religion, why ethnicity, why all these things continue to injure our countries, is largely because we have not come to terms with the fact that power is just about, as somebody said, our turn to eat.
The Sultan of Sokoto, His Eminence, Sir Abubakar III, congratulated Nigerians for witnessing the 7th consecutive democratic transition to power without any major hitch or crisis. The Sultan advised Nigerian political leaders to face governance and how to improve the lives of Nigerians who voted for them.
If the leader follows the path of righteousness, piety will take ascendancy over his worldly desires. If he goes astray, his piety will fall victim to worldly lust. Therefore, fear God. Know that every soul shall have a taste of death, and you shall receive your full recompense on the day of judgment. Leadership is also a service to the people. As Sheikh Osman Amfodio said, seeing to the welfare of people is more effective than the use of force. It has been said that the crown of a leader is his integrity, his stronghold is his impartiality, and his wealth is that of his people.
Speaking at the lecture, the president of the African Development Bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, said what has retarded the economic growth of Nigeria in all fronts is the cankerworm of corruption that is endemic in all facets of our lives.
The starting point must be macroeconomic and fiscal stability. Unless the economy is revived and the fiscal challenges addressed boldly, the resources to develop will not be there. No bird can fly if its wings are tied. Nigeria currently faces huge fiscal deficits, estimated at 6% of the GDP. This has been due to several challenges, including low receipts to dwindling revenues from export of crude oil, vandalism of pipelines, and illegal bunkering of crude oil. According to Nigeria's Debt Management Office, Nigeria now spends 96% of its revenue servicing debt, with the debt-to-revenue ratio rising from 83.2% in 2021 to 96.3% by 2022. Some will argue that the debt-to-GDP ratio at 34% is still low compared to other countries in Africa. And that is absolutely correct. But no one pays their debt using GDP.
Dr. Akinwumi Adesina made a strong push for the removal of petrol subsidy and the entrenchment of the principles of transparency, accountability, and the rule of law.
The economy of Nigeria is one of the most diversified in Africa, with the oil sector accounting for only 15% of the GDP, and 85% is accounted for by other sectors. Nigeria's challenge is not diversification. Nigeria's challenge is revenue concentration. And that is because the oil sector accounts for 75.4% of export revenue and 50% of all government revenue. The solution, therefore, is to unlock the bottlenecks that are hampering the 85% of the economy. These include low productivity, very poor infrastructure and logistics, despite gains being made, epileptic power supply, inadequate access to finance for small and medium-sized enterprises. Nigeria must also shift away from just relying on import substitution to export-focused industrialization. No team in soccer can ever win by playing defense. Every team that wins in soccer, they win by playing offense. When you do export-led industrialization, that's offense. That's how economies will grow, and that's how we will thrive.
In his own intervention, Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON, advised Nigerians to play down the issue of religion and take ourselves as one people before God, whether Christians or Muslims. He pledged on behalf of the president-elect that they will put to use all the pieces of advice of the speakers at the presidential inauguration lecture.
No doubt, our hearts swell with gratitude. No doubt, assuming the mantle of leadership in these troubled times warrant deep reflections. We shall undoubtedly honor and celebrate this opportunity. Yet I implore you, let the strains of our jubilation be hushed, for now is not the time to revel in the enchantment of triumph. Instead, let us come together in solemn unity and recognize the realities that afflict our nation. As Winston Churchill said, truth is so precious that it has to be surrounded by a bodyguard of lies. In politics, a lot of lies are being traded on at the top. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I was a child of necessity. There is no any Islamization agenda. I stand here, Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, imbued with a profound conviction that in unity, we are going to move a mountain. I implore on all Nigerians to give us the benefit of the doubt, to invest your trust and confidence in the Tinubu project, to believe in the Nigeria project. So finally, Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, what binds us together to persist whatever that divides us? Thank you so much, and may God bless you.
In his own submission, President Muhammadu Buhari admonished the Tinubu administration to create an environment where Nigerians are given equal opportunity to thrive regardless of their background, ethnicity, religion, or social status. He said his successor in office, President Bola Tinubu, is more than equal to the task to deliver any assignment given to him by Nigerians.
The lessons we have learned here are not mere intellectual exercises, but a call to action. As I prepare to hand over the reins of governance